Swinging a drive. Get up, bar. He's done it again. A two-run shot in the first.
It is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. He is James, I am Logan, and you're watching Swinging a Drive, a Blue Jays fancast. On today's episode, we're going to tell you what we think some pros and cons are of the pitch clocks this far. We're going to talk about the aggressive play of the Blue Jays in spring training. And we're going to give our thoughts on what we think the roles of the younger pitchers might be in the regular season. But before any of that, James, give us the latest on Vladdy's knee.
The latest on Vladdy is don't freak out. Little bit of management here. The knee soreness is just soreness. MRI was negative, and he continues to get treatment. As of today, via Twitter, we could be, according to John Schneider, we could be seeing Vladdy back in the cage by this weekend, and I think that's just extra. Like, inflammation is inflammation. It's might as well just take it slow, let it all go away.
Yeah.
So
it's spring training. Everyone's going to get a little soreness doing things that we haven't done for a couple months. So
yeah,
good news though. Yeah, good to hear that won't be affected. He's probably a little disappointed he's not playing in the WBC, which starts tonight, by the way. So pretty excited about that. And yeah, it's overall a good thing for him. Yeah.
I think we'll be seeing Vladdy back soon enough, and he'll be gearing back up for his like record-setting hitting season, and it'll be in like multiple categories. So like, don't even
yeah, he's not going to miss any time. Like that's not a concern, I don't think.
But as far as it goes,
so,
yeah.
What do you want to get started with?
Let's get into it. I want to talk about some of the stuff around the pace clock. We actually saw the pace clock calls quite a bit more in today's game on the 7th against the Pirates than we have kind of through the spring. As far as the Blue Jays go, it came into both teams. It came into this game multiple times, but part of it was not just the batter and the pitcher being in there either not throwing on time or not being ready on time, but it goes to the other part of the rule changes, and that's the disengagement rules. I was pretty salty at the broadcasters from Pittsburgh. Maybe they were just mailing it in. Maybe they don't know the rules themselves and they're just learning. I don't know. But they had it all wrong on the broadcast today about the number of disengagements that had been taken prior to Whit Merrifield stealing second base. And the reason he got such a great jump was because of his 2 disengagements that the pitcher had before he stole. And I thought that it made a lot of sense. And the guys on the broadcast were questioning the intelligence of trying that. And I just thought, well, you guys clearly didn't understand the situation. You got to keep track of the situation now. Like one broadcaster said to the other guy, like, you're doing that, right? And he's like, I'm not doing that. That's too much.
Yeah, it's your assignment.
Like, no way. So it's kind of funny, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, well, like, what's going on here? The disengagements resulting in an out. If you get a disengagement on the third disengagement, and it results in an out, doesn't matter. So they were saying on the broadcast there, you could just step off and catch the guy running to second base, throw to second, and if he gets him, he gets him. If not, it's like a stolen base, but it's not he just gets the bag.
If you get him in a rundown or something, right? If you get him in a rundown, you can just chase him back to first. But if he gets back to first safely, then he actually gets second base. But if you get him out, then that's an out, and that's legit. So he could have stepped off. I think Whit Merrifield was definitely trying to start testing the limits of what he can do on the bases right now. Yeah. And as he should at spring training, this is where we test these sort of things. So
he went extremely early. And the pitcher didn't even give him a look. He's like, is he looking? He is not even going to think about throwing over here right now. He's not even thinking about throwing over here right now. He didn't even the pitcher didn't tease it at all. So why would Whit even like why? Yeah, he just go.
Yeah.
Like he's a
Yeah.
veteran and he's
Witt
trying to push it.
is a base stealer. He's a good base runner. He's going to steal a lot of bases this year.
Well,
I
and on the
think.
very next well, not pitch,
Yeah.
within a couple of pitches he attempted to steal
Couple of
third,
pitches, yeah.
and I was a little too aggressive. The broadcast,
Yeah, that might have been ill-advised, but
they didn't
again,
understand
the
it.
pitcher didn't even really give him a look at second, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Well, I'll go for it," but
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't
they
getting a
just threw
look.
him out there. What can you do?
Yeah, the pitcher caught himself in time there,
Yeah.
and did it. But now the rule on the disengagements is the at bat was still going on, so you get 2 disengagements per at bat unless the runner advances a base.
Yes.
Then the disengagement rule starts over again. So that's one
Resets.
thing
Yeah.
that needs, if anybody needs any clarity on, that would reset the disengagement clock or ticker each time a base is advanced. Now, my question that I started thinking about is multiple runners. Because on the broadcast they said if there is not an out, it's called as a balk. And on a balk, do all runners not advance?
That is true, and I tried to look this up, as you did as well as you did too, and it's tough to find wording for more than just what's happening to that specific runner that they're trying to pick off. So
Yeah,
it
all
could
I'm
come
seeing
into
is
play into some first and
runner
third situations, I think.
runner advances, but exactly, yeah, like if
But
there's
yeah,
or if you've tried
all runners advance.
all runners advance, and so it's a pretty important thing to clear up.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be, the wording has to be there for sure, because it's definitely something that could happen. I don't know that would happen a ton. Not too many pickoff attempts with runners on base, but you could have some stuff going on.
There's situations, I think that the runners are going to be able to good runners are going to be able to use the right situation, and teasing a move of
Oh
some kind
yeah.
is gonna impact pitchers.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one that, like, the base runners are going to have a lot of fun. Like guys that are good base runners,
Yeah.
they're going to have a lot of fun this year. They're going to be messing with pitchers. They're going to be getting inside heads. They're going to be screwing guys up all over the place. And depending on how many games Witt plays this year, we could see him leading the American League in stolen bases again. Who knows? Done it before.
Yeah.
Could definitely do it again.
Yeah, if he's healthy and he's he can clearly get a good jump when he recognizes the pitcher is not really paying that much.
And we got other guys like Varsho did it.
Yeah.
Varsho did it a couple days ago. He got a disgusting running jump and they didn't even throw. They didn't even try and throw.
Yeah.
They had no play at all.
Yeah.
Bo's a good base runner. He's going to get some bases this year. The running game is going to be a big part of the Blue Jays offense this season, I think.
Yes, I think it's going to be, and I think it's probably going to be league-wide a more integral part of the game again, which is pretty exciting to me. I think that
70%, I think is what I saw today. Stolen bases are up 70% in spring training. From last year so far.
Now, is that a trend you think transfers into the regular season, or do you think, because like spring training could just the steal attempts could just be up because they're trying to figure stuff out?
Because they're trying to figure out. It's not going to be 70% of the regular season. I agree. There will be some regression there, and it's going to be probably
up 30%.
We'll probably see like 40 to 50% though, like way up.
That much.
It's going to go way up.
Yeah.
Baseball wants a stolen base back. MLB wants it back, and I think they're getting it with what they've done.
I mean, it's great when you get them
with the bigger bases. Like those bang plays when we got replay again.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be some crazy replay stuff.
Yeah.
On those bigger bases, 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
How many outs would have been safe last year with 4.5 inches closer? A lot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. No, it's gonna cause havoc for sure. But I think that the pace clock is and we've seen it, and the runners are testing it out. The pitchers are getting used to it. We had a few today. Nathan Lucas. No, yes.
Lucas. Yeah.
Struck out to end an inning on a pace clock
To end an
violation.
inning.
So
Yeah.
a minor league guy fighting for a job knows the rule, as you pointed out in the last time we talked.
Yep.
Played with it, and so on that play, because I saw the catcher's arm in the TV camera, I saw the catcher's arm kind of do the motion, and I started counting because Luke seemed really nonchalant
Nonchalant.
when he
Yeah.
backed out. And so when he got in there, I was already calling it. I was like, oh no, yep, strike. It's a strike. And it was I
Yeah.
heard the time and I was like, yeah, no, this is done. And he seemed surprised. And again, he seemed
Yeah.
surprised. And I thought, like, this is really funny. There's the clock, the digital clock in the ballpark that both the pitcher and out in the outfield that the hitter can see. There's no way to be surprised by the timing. It's just and like I think to your point the other day.
Well, so I think
the
he
veterans
got
are
duped
doing
in the
it.
same way that I did. I was like, oh, geez, time's up. Because one, the broadcast wasn't showing it at that point. So that's where I got a little duped. But the umpire was not behind the catcher. He was behind him collecting balls from the ball
Collecting the
boy.
balls, yeah.
And I think Lucas saw that and he was like, oh, I don't have to be in the box if
I
the
got
umpire's not in
time.
the box, right?
Yeah,
And apparently wrong. You still have to be there.
still
So
gotta be there.
that's a tough one. He was arguing it too, and it was close. It was super close. So
Yeah, it was
it's
somewhat close.
it's one of those things. I wonder, like, Scherzer was kind of talking about it and comparing it to the shot clock in basketball, and how when you watch the shot clock in basketball, it hits 0, but there's a like partial second that counts down still. So like 0 is not 0. 0 is 1 second left, and then it counts down to 0. And Scherzer was saying, I was just trying to figure out, like, when it hits 0, is it 0, or do I have like a second from when it hits 0? And so he got called on some violations just because he was testing the limits. That was
Yeah,
it.
I
He
think
was out
that
there trying
I
to
don't
figure out
think it
what
is.
he's going to get called.
I don't think there is a delay in the shot clock. I don't think he's watching enough
Yeah, I
basketball.
mean, I guess it kind of
It turns
it
red when it
says
turns 0.
0 and then blah, 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 or whatever,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it's super fast, but it's there.
If
I
you're
get
leaving
it.
it that tight, I don't know what your strategy is at that point. If you're gonna risk,
Oh
like,
man,
so if you're risking that tight of a pitch, the batter at that point, so it's like I liken it to you're on a 3rd and long in football, and the defensive line comes up, and there's 5 seconds left on the play clock or whatever, 3 seconds left on the play clock. Like, the defensive lineman can just see that and take the jump. Like, if they don't get the ball off at 0, it's an offensive penalty. So that helps the defensive lineman,
yeah,
like, tee off. And that's the kind of thing, like, I'm like, that countdown, I don't know what waiting for the pitcher, like when was it Scherzer doing the early? Yeah,
Scherzer, yeah.
he was playing with the early pitch the other day, and
Oh man, he's been
just
all over the place.
being ready, and like guys
I love
could
it.
not handle that. I think that's going to
Yeah,
be a way bigger disruption.
Scherzer is just standing there ready,
Yeah,
and then the hitter comes in and has to wait, like gets in there with 8 seconds, and then has to wait for 8 seconds. It has to be ready for that whole time. And if he doesn't, he can call timeout one time, and as
yeah,
soon as he burns that timeout,
yeah,
Scherzer's got him.
yeah,
You're toast as soon as you burn your timeout.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, like there's lots of pitchers that are going to figure that sort of stuff out and work it to their advantage. And I was kind of worried, like um, a big part of like holding runners on is just holding. Like it's a move in itself that pitchers used to do. A guy takes a huge lead, he's standing out there getting all ready to run, and you
yeah,
just stand there as a
yeah,
pitcher. You just stand there and wait for either him or the hitter to call time, and just wait. And then on the next pitch, not quick pitch because you're not allowed to quick pitch, but you go very quick. Like as soon as 8 seconds happens, boom, you're pitching.
yeah,
And so Scherzer has figured out a way to do that within the rules of the pitch clock, and it's devastating.
yeah,
It is devastating for hitters,
yeah,
especially if a guy like Scherzer's doing it, because he is very good. So
So it made me think about have you ever played like crib with like a Newfoundlander, someone from the East Coast, and I think any of the maritime provinces probably. I've dealt with it a few times. They play the fast crib, where
it's
you're
super fast.
counting everything is super fast, and I feel seriously stupid sometimes. There's like I'm like I'm not bad at math. Like, these guys are like
Bang,
like this
bang,
is the
bang,
kind of
bang.
level of like the thinking speed that hitters are gonna have to start adjusting to, because if you're like one of like a Chris Bassett the other day, playing with his reverse pitch calling and
Yeah,
knowing what kind of game he wants to call. And I thought that like any of these veteran guys that knows the sequences of pitches they want to throw, all as soon as you know the layout of your at bat as a pitcher, then you're just doing clock management, and you're just adding that clock
yeah,
management into your at bat,
100%.
to make it more effective or not, right? Like
Yeah,
like you're
and
thinking of so.
he did a great job too of varying the time that he came set and started the pitch.
Right.
So he let go, like he pitched with 2 seconds left. He pitched with right at 8 seconds. He pitched like as soon as the batter was ready. He pitched with 4 seconds left. So he did a good job of working the clock, but also calling the pitches. There's no worry about, oh, are we on the same page? Is Danny going to call the same pitch that I want? Are we going to have to go through like 5 pitches? So like, I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to be using this in the regular season, but this is a great training tool to help Danny Jansen and him get on the same page and not have to worry about going through 4 or 5 pitches. Like, if it's
Right.
used in the regular season, I think he kind of said this too in an interview, but if it's used in the regular season, and it's allowed in the regular season, which it isn't yet, that hasn't been confirmed that it will be allowed in the regular season. But if it is, Danny will call the pitch originally, and if that's not the pitch that Chris wants to throw, instead of shaking it off, he'll just say, no, this. And that'll speed the game up considerably, right? Like, there
Right.
won't be any shaking off. It'll just be like, no, I want this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like no double shakes, no triple shakes. In his case, no shaking 6 times to get to that 7th pitch.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It will
Uh,
be
yeah.
quick.
And
It'll change
in
how he
doing this
works hitters for
in
sure.
doing this way too, like you said, like it'll help Jano learn the thought patterns
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
Bassett has, and so
yeah,
he'll start to call the more correct pitch more often.
exactly.
Just like in the Ryu relationship, or any of these guys that are
Yeah,
these like
and if they would have had this, it would have been amazing. Like, they would have gotten tighter, faster for sure.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
exactly.
it's a great training tool for these guys. Even if
Yeah.
they're not going to use it in the regular season at all, it's really going to help them get together and be thinking one mind when they're out there.
Yeah.
Challenging hitters.
Yeah. So during the game on March 2nd versus the Pirates, Pearson came in to pitch the third after Manoah, who threw well. Did
Yeah,
Nate
he's looking good. No
come in?
worries about
Sorry,
him.
Pearson came in the second inning at some point, because Manoah threw quite a few pitches, I think.
Yeah, Manoah got to his 33rd
Yeah,
pitch or something like that.
yeah. So he wasn't as efficient as whatever, but he's fine. But that wasn't the point. Nate looked really good in the early going, and he was smooth in his delivery. And Buck started talking about in the third inning during the broadcast about the roles. And is there a possibility that Nate Pearson gets stretched out? Is he gonna is he a guy that you can use as a long relief guy? Is he gonna be a pen guy forever now? Are they still looking at Nate Pearson as a like think about this
Potential starter.
3 years, think about this 3 years down the road, 3 homegrown starting pitchers, Manoah, Pearson, Tiedemann, and they're all working out just fine. Like if that happened, like that's a pretty good 3 young homegrown guys to be working out everything around your starting pitching staff. Like you have to bring in 2 guys a year, or 1 guy. Like it's a much more manageable situation if those guys all get stretched out. So it's like, does Pearson become a forever bullpen guy? Because he's probably going to be with the team this year. He's here now,
Yeah.
right?
So I think it's a tough one. I think he is a bullpen guy. I think that's his role now. I don't know that they will stretch him out. Like lots of things have to happen. Lots of things have to go wrong for him to be a major league starter, I feel like. And by that, I mean Kikuchi goes down, Mitch White goes down, Ricky Tiedemann goes down, or some combination of 3 pitchers goes down, because he's not your first guy. He's not your second choice. He is your third choice probably.
Or Hatch? Is Hatch
come
still in
up.
the mix? Like he seems to be this sort of like bubble
Thomas
guy
Hatch
that
could be in the
is like,
mix. Drew Hutchison could be in the mix, depending on if he kind of cleans it up over the next couple of weeks of spring training.
yep,
So my opinion is Nate Pearson, bullpen arm. Could he be a multi-inning bullpen arm? Definitely, because of his starter experience. But I think he's going to be a solid bullpen arm. I think he'll come up and join the bullpen this year, and come in there and throw gas out of the bullpen and get outs for us. I think he'll be good at that.
will he be a
And,
multi like a used in multiple situations guy, or is he like a late innings guy in your mind?
no, he'll be a multiple situations guy. Like our late inning guys are locked down, right? Like
Yeah,
Swanson, Romano,
Jimmy.
Jimmy,
Yeah,
and when he comes back, if he comes back healthy, Chad Green. Like those are your like late innings, high
yeah,
leverage guys. He'll be brought in maybe once in a while in that situation if guys have been used up already in
right.
a series or whatever.
Yeah, and if he's
But I
showing
think
promise,
he's more
yeah,
of like he's definitely like starter, had a rough day, isn't getting out of an inning in maybe the 3rd or 4th. Bring in Pearson to get you through that inning, probably 1 more inning, maybe another out or 2 after that.
right.
But I think that's kind of where his role will be, is middle relief somewhere, 1 or 2 inning guy, inning and a half type guy, and he'll be good at it. I think he'll be really good at it.
Okay, yeah, no, I like it. It makes sense. I don't want to like, oh, I don't, maybe that's this year. Like they'll stretch him out again in the future, possibly, or he could really flourish in the role. And it's like the growing up thing where you're here in the major leagues now, and this is the role that and that you ended up falling
Well, and the
into, all of the
cameras are off him.
circumstances.
Like the
Yeah,
cameras are off of him. We've had Manoah come up now, past him, and Tiedemann has done the same thing. And so, the cameras are off him. So hopefully that is going to help him out a little bit, and give him a little more confidence out there. And he can just come out there and throw gas, because that's what he does.
well, yeah, like, and that's like not everybody comes up when they're 20 and jumps all 3 levels of the
No.
minors and right into the league. So I mean,
Yeah, we got a
everybody's at a
couple
different
pretty
pace.
special guys in Manoah and Tiedemann.
Well, so that's the other pitcher I wanted to talk about in the young guys and what their role is. You actually thought he might be a possible major leaguer this year if things happen. Oh, I guess
Oh, he's the next guy up.
after seeing him today, he finally got, he had a really good outing in the first time we saw him. I don't know
Yeah,
how many times we've seen him now, but
I think this is just the second.
was this the second time?
Second or third? I
Second
can't
or
remember.
third?
But I think
This was his first time getting touched up, and it was a major leaguer,
had a couple hits.
Major leaguer saying welcome to the league, kid.
Yeah.
So that's
and the thing
fine.
is, like, he left stuff middle. He was right down the middle with stuff, and that's, a major league hitter's going to hit that.
Yeah,
The slider didn't slide; it went middle. So he'll work that out. That's not a big deal. Um, it's early in spring. He's got the gas. He's got 99 in the tank if he needs it. It's not something I think he'll use very often, but he's got it.
yeah, he does have
And
that.
that changeup is deadly. So he got touched up on a couple of pitches that he's probably not going to throw a lot of in the regular season, or hopefully if he gets in there. But yeah, I think he's the next guy up, man. He's it. Mitch White's kind of hurt. If he stays hurt and something happens to anybody, he's the next guy up.
Right. Yeah.
And he could just Manoa the whole situation and just be so good he doesn't get sent back down.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
That'd be the best. That would be the best case scenario for him, as long as it doesn't involve necessarily somebody's career being in jeopardy or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
hopefully it means you could trade Kikuchi at the deadline and get another bat
Yeah.
in there, something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
Something wild. Something wild.
Something wild. Yeah. Absolutely. Now we're almost out of time, but the other thing we wanted to hit on was the aggressive play, and sort of full circle back to the
Yeah,
face
which we
stealing
kind of
at the
skated
start.
over a little bit.
But it goes to also on defense. So I wanted to note one player in particular that I feel like in the first game we saw him, Varsho was he made a couple of aggressive attempts, and I remember our back and forth as we always chat during the game about whether he was trying too hard to make an impact early and all of that. But he continues to be aggressive, and he started to make some plays in the field defensively.
Yeah.
Um, and then in the game against the was it the Phillies? Um, he really he made a play on D, and then here it is. Made a play on D, and then later in the game he made a couple big hits, got a couple big hits, and I thought like that whole
Yeah.
like having an impact thing that I talked about the other day, that I thought he was going to be like the guy that was going to be fastest to get comfortable because he was making an impact, and he starting to make those kind of plays now, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, and he had an impact on the bases that day too. Stole a base there in the same kind of way that Witt did today. Just got a huge running jump. I think also these three outfielders, Springer and Varsho and Kiermaier, are all guys that just want to go get the ball. So
Yes.
they're all kind of trying to figure out like whose ball is whose. Like, what balls am I going to go get? What balls am I backing up Kevin on? What balls am I doing this on? So I think that's really getting felt out a lot too. That's why like some stuff looks a little aggressive maybe, but is just the way that guy plays. Like, he wants that
Yeah.
ball, and you got to admire that, man. He's going to be a difference maker for the Blue Jays. And not to speak ill of the people we got rid of, but we are going to be saying Teoscar who as soon as the season starts.
Yeah, and I mean, some people might they might like Lourdes better. They might like Teoscar. I mean, I really like Teoscar, and I think that everybody knows. It's kind of weird to me. Teoscar just had that like sort of like happy, gentle sort of guy, and he was a super athlete, but he did have a lot to learn in the field, and if he had the same kind of like competitive fire, it certainly he didn't show it on his person. He wasn't laying out to make those. Like, he made some nice plays on defense during his time the Jays. I don't want to
crazy prediction. Varsho will take the Gold Glove in left field in the American League and the Silver Slugger.
And the Silver Slugger. I like it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, so you brought up the
poised to
other
have
day
a big season.
how many possible Gold Glovers they have collected on their roster for the Jays, and you're like you're right. Like if everybody does the best that they can do,
If
there's
everybody plays and stays healthy, that can. We got 4 Gold Gloves.
that would be
I'll
pretty
let you
cool.
guess who.
Put it in the comments. Tell me
Put
who
it in
you
the
think it
comments who
is.
you think our 4 potential Gold Glovers are.
Do we have a
Uh,
platinum glove in the mix?
And on that note,
Yes.
Kiermaier's done it before. Could do it again.
Exactly.
On that note, thanks for watching, everybody. James, has been great having a chat about the Blue Jays as always. If you like what you've seen here today and you want to stay in touch and get notifications for future content, consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell. Thanks a lot for watching.
Don't forget to like us.